Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. This week, we welcome JT Cavey from ERRA to the podcast. ERRA just released the deluxe edition of their self-titled record on UNFD Records. The deluxe edition features new songs and cover tracks. If you missed out on ERRA's self-titled the first time around, as I did, this is a good time to jump in and give the record a listen. JT talks about his life as an athlete, how YouTube covers led him to Texas in July, being the replacement vocalist twice, and ERRA's long road to releasing their self-titled record. This is a fun chat, and I was stoked to find out JT is a fellow Marylander. So I hope you guys enjoy getting to know JT Cavey from ERRA. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm good. I'm tired. That's why I have coffee.
Trying to get this over with so we could play Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if you're a gamer.
No.
I don't know if you're familiar with this game that just came out.
No, I saw posters. I was walking by GameStop the other day. Posters were all up.
Yeah, it just came out.
Nice. Awesome, man. Man, where are you currently located?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay, not far. I was in Baltimore this morning. I had to take my wife to BWI, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's she gone?
She's headed to Austin, Texas for work.
Nice. Where did you drive out of? Philly?
Rockville.
Oh, you live in Maryland?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to frequent, I had a buddy that lived in Gaithersburg.
Yeah, nice. That's where I grew up, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He lived in off Stone Barn, in like off Muddy Creek or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he went to Bullis.
Okay.
But I used to go visit them and him and his family for years. Parents knew each other in high school, but I always looked forward to going over there because there was a BD's Mongolian barbecue, which is now gone.
I know, yeah.
I loved BD's, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, I worked in Bethesda for a while, and yeah, we would frequent BD's. It was awesome, and then I moved to Philly, and then I moved back, and I was like, oh, it's gone. No.
Yeah. R.I.P.
It's the worst. Awesome, man. So you grew up in Baltimore. You grew up in Maryland?
Well, I grew up in Smyrna Park.
Okay.
One of the Parkies, but I did go to school in Catonsville. I went to all boys Catholic school in Baltimore. But I actually have never been a city guy until recently. I was always a suburbia kid.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What was growing up like for you?
Sports and academics. I was a student athlete.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much exclusively. It's definitely one of those kids just in books and at practice for years.
Nice. Is that what took you to an all-boys school?
My father went there. Two of my uncles went there. My grandmother was in charge of kind of rebranding their culinary stuff, their food court, in the 70s. So there was a lot of family history. It was one of those situations where it's you don't have to go here. Yeah. But if you don't, you ain't family.
That was funny.
Yeah.
What were your sports of choice? Just everything, or?
A little bit of everything growing up, but actually I was a swimmer mostly.
Okay.
I was a swimmer for a long time. Did a little bit of lacrosse, but my whole life swimming and diving. Tried a little bit of football, did a little bit of rugby. The only thing I didn't play was soccer. Yeah. And I actually really like soccer now, but
that's cool.
Football.
Yeah. Football is life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What got you into music then?
Well, I was more of a just a kid just brought up around music. My parents loved to spin their vinyls. My dad was an AC/DC guy. My mom was a disco lady, and they tried to. I feel like they did a pretty good job of showing me everything. We went from the Back in Black record to, the Grease soundtrack to like even Eddie Murphy Comedian, which at the time I never should have heard because it's so vulgar. But just musical things growing up, and my parents had instruments, and I did all male gospel choir in high school. I tried to stay involved musically throughout my years because I was a student athlete, but I had many passions, so I tried to pursue a bunch as much as I could, being as busy as I was. I didn't really fall into the music world until like in my 20s.
Okay. So you weren't like involved in like the local scene down in Baltimore, like anything through high school?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I was. I was very lucky to skip all the years of grinding. I only sold tickets for like 2 shows ever.
Oh yeah.
I was in a local band for a hot second, but only played like 6 shows total, I think.
Yeah. What was your transition into like heavier music, into the like hardcore metalcore scene?
YouTube covers.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know that. I did like 200 some YouTube covers. This is a long story short, but Chris Davis, he was in a local band called Behold the Flood, which is from Mount Airy.
Yeah.
And then joined Texas in July in like 2011, 2010 maybe. And I guess they had caught wind of my covers. I was doing them from like 2011 and 12. And they lost their vocalist, Alex Good. And he was like, hey, I saw your covers. Like, I want you to try out. And ended up trying out. And I had plenty of like screaming experience from like practicing and doing covers, but none on stage or like no knowledge and involvement of what the hell I was getting myself into. But did that for 2 years, and here we are in ERRA and through pandemics, and 10 years later, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. What led you to YouTube covers and being like, I could do that?
That's literally what it was like. I could do that. That's actually how it went. I've never had anybody react like that. But that's kind of how it went. Like it was. Yeah. I was I experienced my life from 17 to 20, and I was fucking bored, and I feel like I wasn't swimming anymore, and I feel like I lost a part of like, I don't know, something that kind of like kept me busy. So I was going to school at Anne Arundel Community College, and I was working full time. I had like 3 jobs at one point, and I just started to, like you're in the car, you're always participating in the music, but like for me, it was like a lot of screaming, and I couldn't scream, but I tried. And then one day, like kind of like clicked. I feel like I'm okay at mimicking sounds. Like I feel like I'm decent at certain impressions. Like I could just hear things, and I feel like I have the ability to hear what they're doing with the muscles in their body to make the tone, not just like what it sounds like, but like how they got there. Yeah. So that made it easier to teach myself how to get like the tone I was looking for initially when I was learning how to scream. And then one day it was like something like changed overnight, and I was like, oh shit, I think this is it. Like I think this is what it's supposed to be like. And then I just kept at it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. What got you into that type of music as a fan? Heavy stuff? I don't really know. I think there was just like gateways, and then slowly just got deeper and deeper. I remember my mom showing me Stupefy by Disturbed, and like when I was like 11, like right when it came out too. I remember listening to it through like an infinity clock radio, like on 99.1 Rock. Remember it? Or 99.1 HFS. Yeah. Remember that? Oh yeah. I think they're still around, right? Did they? I think they sold it. No. I don't know. I remember they were still a thing. They were on air, and then at noon they switched over to El Zol, and they were a Spanish station. Yeah, exactly. And then they like moved to like a smaller on the dial station out of Baltimore. Yeah. Yeah. R.I.P. man. Holy shit. We still got DC 101 though. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't listened to the radio in so long. Actually, you know what's funny? I walked into I live in Hamden, which is a neighborhood like it's like a very cute Baltimore neighborhood. I stand out there. And I'm walking down like our main drag, and there's a church that's doing a secondhand shop, and behind me right here is an Infinity clock radio. I picked one up for like $5.
Nice.
It works perfectly, and I put it on 107 The Bay as my alarm wake up.
Oh wow. What was that transition like for you heading into Texas Is the Reason and going from just a YouTube cover guy to having to be the front man? And
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, screaming in your bedroom or like in the basement for me, and like taking your time and editing and all that stuff is one monster. But like, it wasn't the amount of people that I was doing it in front of. It was like, I have such a high standard of like excellence for myself from like school and sports growing up, and my parents kind of just being tough on me. Not like in a mean way, just like they expected a lot. They expected great things, and I like to deliver. So for me, it was like a pride issue.
yeah.
And so I had to like learn on the fly, and I would be watching guys like Jake Lors and Jason Butler and Levi Bennett and all these awesome frontmen who like really have locked into what makes them like their flavor on stage, like beyond what they sound like, but having more to offer in the regards of like how to command a crowd and like what kind of things you can expect from them. Like the big thing that Levi was kind of famous for was hands up. It was like a mosh call, and I like totally ripped that from him. But like I had to like figure out how to put my own spin on things, and yeah, I mean, I still feel like that's a crazy monster and a weird undertaking. Sometimes I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Did you write the lyrics on that record?
On Bloodwork, yeah.
Yeah. Was that a challenge for you, or was that something you were already doing?
It's not that writing lyrics is hard. It's writing good lyrics is hard.
Yeah.
Or like writing stuff that you're that you can look back on and be like, oh, that's actually not trash.
Yeah.
And thankfully, looking back on those songs, I can see like the infancy of my like preferences and skill set and like the things that I did back then. And I don't hate it, but I definitely have grown a lot since that time.
Yeah.
Definitely proud of that work still. I don't cringe when I listen to it, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Was Texas in July still part of like the Christcore scene or whatever, Christian?
No, not when I joined it.
Okay.
They had the
like
the
their
label
debut
from some
was-
people.
yeah.
Yeah, like I had people like pray with me
Okay.
the first year I was in the band, but like after that, like it never happened again. And
Yeah.
I'm not a religious person, but I would always like accept it out of courtesy.
Yeah.
And I going to a Catholic school and like growing up on religion, I understood it and respected it. So I was like, sure, of course.
Yeah. The popularity of that scene was always so weird to me. As I've stated here.
I don't know. I don't really know any bands to that extent, or I'm just like not in that world anymore.
Yeah.
It's so weird to think that was such like a big influence on earlier parts of post-hardcore metalcore.
Yeah.
Now it's like not really a thing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, ABR and Fit for a King will still talk about faith, but like it's not like a huge part of like their message as much. Maybe for Jake, but overall, I think it's just like dudes trying to rock.
Yeah. People have gotten older and evolved and changed, and
Sure.
The whole nature of it changed. Well, led to Texas in July calling it quits.
That's a great question. I still don't fully know. I think a big part of it was they definitely grew up with everybody at the same time. Like they grew up with playing shows with like Moths and Miss May I and For Today, and they saw these bands kind of like keep growing, and I think Texas got a little stagnant and plateaued, and maybe had some maybe should have like sought out different team members or management or somebody along the chain of like their circle of like their crew or not just like at the shows, but like from like the business side that might have helped them differently. But I feel like they got a little discouraged when they plateaued, and I would have loved to have the knowledge I have now to like give you a better answer. But like back then, I think their just hearts weren't in it anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until it was kind of too late, because I was like, I was balls deep all in at that point. Like I was still new and ready to like eat shit and grind a little bit. But I think they were just over it.
Yeah.
It's not an easy life.
Yeah. And if you've been doing it for a while, then it's just like, all right, we've done this. We've reached as high as we're going to on this mountain, and like,
the farewell tour numbers really told the tale too. So, I mean, it was time. But I mean, years later, we played a show like a couple months ago, and it was amazing. So, you know, I guess we're not completely dead.
What led to you joining ERRA?
I got a phone call from Jesse while I was, I think it was like August of 2015. We had just got back from Europe for the farewell tour for Texas, and in a couple months we were about to do the farewell tour for the US. I hit the studio with them in October, and then did the farewell tour for Texas in July, and then like transition right away. There was like no downtime.
That's awesome. What's it been like for you joining bands as like the second singer for Texas
vocalist?
And then the third for
I'm used to it. Easy. So I was totally used to it at this point. And thankfully I've been long enough in the era where it's like people finally like rarely mention any previous vocalists. Which is probably good. But yeah, I mean, people have asked like, you know, what's it like to do other people's songs, and it really doesn't bother me because I've always found a way to like put my own stamp on it and make it mine and kind of own it for the moment.
And because your like background is not like slogging in bands, it was YouTube covers, so it's like it wasn't this weird thing to do other people's songs.
Exactly.
That's what I did.
It's basically what I did. So I think it kind of equipped me well. Yeah.
What led from that transition from Sumerian to UNFD?
The contract just ran up, and Eye of God was like the exiting clause of the contract. I think that like contract ran up. They're like, hey, we want to do one more song. Like we're in this. I know our contract's up, and that was like the last hurrah. And I still keep in touch with some of those guys from that team. We're definitely really happy with Unified. It's been really good too.
Yeah. What led you guys to Unified?
God, I'm not the person to ask, honestly. I'm more of like the dad of the band, doing like the tour shtick.
Okay.
And the business emailings are done usually through Jesse and Connor, and I'm just CC'd. I participate in that stuff too, but there's like too many cooks in the kitchen, you know. So I kind of let them handle it. I think they were a label that showed interest and like were willing to work out the deal that we were interested in. So I think that was a big reason for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to seem like that we were hoping for something better. Like we were very, very happy. And if anything, like they proved to show like that they were even more than what we thought. So
Yeah.
that we've been super stoked and good. We're in really good hands.
Yeah. That's awesome. When COVID hit and shut down the world, were you guys in this transition phase where you were getting ready to write anyways? Like your last record had come out in 2018 and you had the touring cycles for a year and a half, 2 years. Like, was it like, all right, we're getting ready to write now and then the world shut down and it didn't affect you guys that much? Or did you have big plans for 2020? Yeah.
We were in the studio from February, maybe January 2020 to March. It was like the first week of March.
Well, fuck.
And think of that timeline.
Yeah.
Literally a week later, the whole world shut down.
Damn.
So we literally got everything done just in time. We were the last, as far as I'm aware, we were the last band to ever record in that particular studio because that studio eventually shut down.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And the people we were working for were just tenants there, so it wasn't their studio, so they had to move too.
Jeez.
It was like a big thing. Carson and Grant from Atrium Audio. Which is funny because that's who I recorded Blood Work with, so it's been very full circle.
Yeah.
I love that, honestly. I love how small the world can be in that regard. But yeah, we literally got everything done the last minute because we were in the studio, and earlier that week, like Nashville got pummeled with a tornado, and that was literally Jesse's neighborhood. Jesse lived in that neighborhood.
Oh my God.
So he was dealing with that. So we were really caught off guard with everything that happened. It would have been really interesting to see if we like recorded a little bit later and what I like wrote about the pandemic or that maybe. Yeah. But we'll just have to do it now.
Yeah. Man,
There's plenty to talk about.
So this record has been done recording since March of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Well,
the deluxe stuff though wasn't done until January of 2021. Like when we found out we were still stuck at home, even after we pushed the record release back 6 months, it was supposed to come out in September of 2020. We were just like, yeah, we have all this time. It like wasn't in the budget, it wasn't in the plans at all, but we like reached out to Unified, and this kind of just reinforces how sick they are. They were like, yeah, we're totally on board. Like, we love you guys. Let's pump those numbers, baby.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it has sucked, and God, that was a dark time for a lot of us. There was a point where I thought I was like about to like change careers and jump ship, but we made it through, and we're still getting through it.
Yeah. Were there ever talks of there like, all right, we've done the record, but like, who knows what's happening with the world? But is there ever any thought like we might never do this band again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they felt. There was no like collective like conversations. Yeah, like, oh, we're all fucked. I was like something we were making the call for. At that point, like I think all of us didn't have any choice to just kind of wait it out and see what happens. But like the adult in me was like, I was worried that if I waited it out and it came back and it was like bad, that I was wasting my time, like not thinking about, all right, well, what's my backup plan? So that was really scary, but I think we're okay.
Yeah. When you released the record in March, was it just like we've sat on this thing for so long that we have to get it out and we can't just wait any longer?
More or less.
Yeah.
The timing actually worked out kind of nicely, though. I feel like we delayed it as long as we could, but it wasn't like, I feel like the time period worked out all in all.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you guys were able to play. You played Furnace Fest?
We played Furnace Fest. And that was in the middle of an ABR tour, so we, we did get to play all the songs, which was nice. A couple months later, so we gave some time for people to sit on the record, which was cool. Yeah,
which begs the question: you're not the only band I've seen doing this, releasing a deluxe edition to a record you put out in 21. Is it just like 2021 was still pretty fucked? Like, let's do something new that will have extras for people who bought the record, but we can kind of reintroduce this to people who might have missed it the first go around.
Exactly. I mean, and we could have done an EP. I'm not really sure what the final decision was of why we chose the deluxe versus the EP. I think it's cool as like an artist. Like I've never done a double pressing like this or like a extended release. So it was just nice to kind of have that under my belt too. For us.
led to the decision to self-title this record?
This is actually kind of funny. Like we group chat, iMessage, basically everything, and we discuss things here and there. If it's like more important, we'll get on a group call. But actually, we have one today at 6. But it was like Jesse will have like a document of like a bunch of lists for songs, and then he'll do the same for the album. The album title is usually like could usually be a song title as well. Mm-hmm. Been sticking to a lot of the single word titles lately. Yeah. And he was like, well, it could be this, or it could be this, or we could self-title. And everybody was like, ooh, I think I like that idea. It was just kind of like, honestly, it was exactly like that.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
It's like, ooh, we could be naughty.
That's awesome. How much of the lyric writing is split between you and Jesse?
Lately, 50-50.
50-50, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We got to a point where in the beginning I was kind of doing all my stuff. And like when I came into Drift, 6 of the 10 songs were already written. And then the last 4 I wrote my parts for, which was Drift, Sleeper, Continuum, and Orchid, I think. And then Neon was about the same, if not, actually Jesse might have even written more for me for that record. That was an awful time for me, honestly. That was a rough record overall. But the self-title, by the time the self-title came around, we were like really good at working together. Any like initial couple of years of like, I don't know how to be friends with you, like, because you're a new person, and we were kind of we're very different people. Mm-hmm. Like you don't really plan on like figuring out how to be friends with somebody, because like you just join a band and kind of hope for the best.
Yeah.
But some good things need a little work, and once I understood Jesse as a person and he understood me, we became much closer, and we were able to work really well together. Now when we hit the studio, it's like super efficient. And like when we did the self-titled, it was like the first time we got in the studio, we were like, this is fun. Yeah. It was like actually enjoyable and not like stressful. It was and Carson and Grant were a big reason for that, for sure.
Yeah. Is that something that you brought over from Texas in July, as being like, you're just joining this band? In a lot of ways, a group of people have been together for a long time, that you're just like, I'm the new guy here. I don't need to like insert myself as their best friend or.
Well, I'm kind of an annoying person, so I don't really give them an option. I'm like new person, make new friend. So. Yeah, I can be overwhelming in that regard. Right. So people have to get like adjusted to me first, because I'm a guy that like wakes up and I'm like at 10 right away.
Yeah.
So I think they had to like ease into my personality.
Yeah. That's funny. The cover song and the Vanish canvas aside, like, was there more COVID focus or like kind of personal like stress or anxiety in the newer songs on the deluxe edition?
No, not really. We almost didn't want to give it any like time of day.
Yeah.
Because like everybody's dealing with it. It's like not really. Yeah. It'll probably be brought up in some way, like maybe some euphemisms for like a virus in general. Mm-hmm. Not really just like talking about COVID. But there is a song that kind of addresses the insurrection, so we did talk about that. Yeah. It's really hard to address like worldly topics like that without. I'm very big on like, if I feel like I don't have any education or grounds to speak on something with a platform that I have, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Personal experiences and storytelling is one thing, but like really like stating a strong opinion on something that's like religion or politics is like kind of touchy for me, because like, who am I to say? Like, I'm just some guy. Like, I know nothing about politics, so I'm not really going to talk about. I feel like I don't give anything of value when I'm talking about it, so I try to avoid it in that regard.
Gotcha.
It's not like I don't have feelings on it. It's just like, am I really giving you anything by talking about it without the education?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
That makes sense. What was your lyrical inspiration for this record, and then specifically for the new songs?
I mean, the insurrection for
Yeah.
sure.
Just
We did talk about that. Night of Silence was mostly Jesse. Then you might have to ask him.
okay.
And then the other song, I know the studio name for it, but I'm drawing a blank on the actual title. It's Soul Absentina. That one, oh God, I'm like trying to remember the lyrics. It's been so long. You know, when you're writing, for me, I don't address content until the instrumental is put before me because I like to be inspired by the music.
Okay.
So I'll have like a database of topics that I want to talk about or things that are on my mind. Sometimes I let songwriting be affected by that day or that week. It really depends. I think the pandemic is probably going to enter anything new that we talk about. I've had a strong distaste for humanity's behavior lately, so there's probably going to be a lot of that.
What?
No way.
I'm shocked.
I don't know. I'll a little bit of the old, a little bit of new.
Yeah.
Who knows? I had this epiphany yesterday where I was like, we should just write a song that's called like the bad song, and it's like purposefully written poorly. I was like, I wonder if that would ever fly. Like you would creatively, like methodically place like really cool riffs, but in places they absolutely don't belong. Like absolute chaos. I was like, what if we just wrote a bad song on purpose? Like I don't know. So who knows what's going to happen? I don't know if that influence will enter the record. But
Random riff salad.
yeah, I'm thinking of like calculating infinity, like old Dillinger days.
Yeah.
Love you found in the empty space, slipped away in the fade. In flight or in free fall, glide along the evergreen. Motes of dust resembling constellations.
How'd you guys end up working with Courtney for the Vanish canvas?
Courtney and I have been friends for a long time.
Oh,
Courtney and Michael were in I Wrestled a Bear once, and Texas in July went to Europe with them for 5
Alright.
weeks. So we were friends. She and Michael have expressed interest in ERRA, and they came out to shows and were super supportive of me, and I introduced them to the rest of the band, and we've always loved them. They're absolute sweethearts, and all the success that Spirit Box has had is super cool because I love when people I care about are successful and their music is awesome. So so win-win.
Yeah. That's an incredible record they put out last year. So
Yeah, good for them. Love to see it.
yeah. What's the rest of 22 look like for you guys? I mean, we've basically told COVID to fuck off, right? Like here in the States, right?
Trying.
Like, we're trying, but
Shaking our fingers at it or something. I don't know. Touring,
Sure.
same old stuff. Really, nothing too out of the ordinary. Just more growth. Hopefully, bigger offers. ERRA's never done European festivals in the summer, and Texas in July did that twice. And I'm really surprised we haven't gotten more offers than we have. They're starting to get better, but we're definitely due for some of those European festivals. We've only been there a handful of times doing clubs, so there's still time for growth. We unfortunately had to cancel a European headliner that was due. Actually, I would have been there right now, but it'll happen. I'm willing to keep waiting if they are.
Yeah. Are you guys like itching to get back into the studio and record since it's been such a long time? Or you just like, because you've had to sit on these songs, you're just like itching to get out there and have people experience it more live?
Both. And at the same time, it's like, I am excited to go to the studio next week, but I'm still kind of overwhelmed with everything. I'm not going to act like I'm still not affected. Like, I mean, the pandemic's still happening. Life still isn't easy. it's hard to see like the war news happening. I'm worried about the rest of the world. There's like, I mean, there was like memes going around. I'm like, am I just supposed to like work today and like ignore everything that's happening and pretend like I'm not scared? And I mean, they're kind of right. I try not to let that stuff affect me, but because life must go on, I guess. But it's definitely hard. It would be different if it like that was the only thing that was happening, I guess. But with like how weird everything's been, it's just like there's like this film, this like stench in the air. I just can't get the funk. I can't get out of.
Yeah. I remember like watching the insurrection happen live on Twitter and like following all that and just being like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like, am I just supposed to keep working? Like,
yeah, that's close to you too.
Well, yeah, I was still up in Philly when it happened, but it was yeah. It's wild.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. What's the meme? Can we just not have a major world event happen 1 year? Like,
yeah.
I'm tired of living through
I'm tired
milestones.
I'm tired of living through major U.S. history.
Yeah.
For real though, I just want to like be able to go outside and like walk through my neighborhood and not feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song.